Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Out of the Park 23 as the Minnesota Twins. And this is our off-season wrap-up episode. So the first thing that we will note right away is Corbin Burns. We did manage to sign to a deal that gives him a decent amount of control, but it's only ever $20 million that I'm on the hook for in any given year. So I think the most likely outcome here is that this ends up being a 3-year, $60 million deal, and he'll opt out here unless the shoulder injury really does kill him. I do think that the high movement and relatively decent control should make it so that he's not oh, terrible. Where's my scouting thing? Come on, there we go. As far as whether or not he's able to live up fully to that, I guess we'll see. But I mean, obviously, in this save, he's been very, very good. The only reason available for a contract even remotely like this is because of the injury, which I'm going to take my bet that somebody who's been this good will be able to come back okay from the injury. So we did make that signing. We did get Jose Alvarez as well. I really like the super high movement guys. He was good in spring training for me. He's the number 56 prospect in baseball, and I'm excited to see what he can do. There was because of the contract that was signed here, that kind of made it as a sort of a pretty easy tiebreak of if there wasn't one of kind of the other fifth starters in Rocker Love just being absolutely dominant in spring training, that he was probably going to get the first shot at being my number 5 starter, or potentially even the long relief role, because Rozek is day-to-day for a week with, I believe it isn't some kind of arm, or it's back tightness. So because it does influence throwing, and again, that 8-day injured list makes it pretty easy for me to hop there. Just throw him on there. He'll miss a couple of games, but I've got decent options. Klassen, this was a little unfortunate. He had a couple of injury things where this happened, but even before that, he had the dead arm for 3 days. And then I think I kind of pushed him back a little bit in the rotation, and then he did kind of end up getting himself hurt again. The scouting on him has been pretty up and down. He's kind of jumped between this 35-55 and 40-50 more than I would like. But I do think that there's a decent chance he ends up being a good 4th or 5th starter for me down the road. But we'll kind of see what ends up happening there. Rocker's scouting dropped again. Like we've obviously seen him come down where this was the first big arm injury, dropped that quite a bit, but now the stuff's gone down even more. Or not the actual stuff rating, but the movement rating is down, the contact rating is down. That's problematic. We haven't really seen that as far as results, other than him getting lit up by Houston, where he gave up 3 home runs. I mean, other than that, he was pretty good in spring training, so sort of wait and see on that. I don't like the low strikeouts and the high walks, though. That's definitely problematic there. And then as far as the other person, Love had kind of an okay spring training. Walks were an issue for him as well, but he was striking more guys out, which is nice to see. He did not give up a single home run, so that was also good. Realistically, I think it's more likely that you'll see Love getting spots in that 5th starter role as opposed to Rocker. I'm concerned about that ratings dip yet again. We'll see. I mean, because obviously you had the coming back from the arm injury where he wasn't very good in 24, but in 25 he was good at both levels. I mean, you could definitely argue he was very lucky at the major league level in those 6 starts. With the 212 BABIP says quite a bit there. But the 27 strikeouts to 21 walks, that's a problem. So we'll kind of see how that ends up going. Then our other signing was a hitter in Victor Robles. The thing I like about him is absolutely the fact that he can play center. He wasn't great as far as being kind of that fourth outfield bat in spring training, but neither Rodriguez, see this, the 500 OPS plus, or Baez, only slightly better, 600 OPS plus, or OPS, 600 OPS plus would be pretty nutty. Neither of them really kind of stood out. So at that point, I think it makes the most sense to have them play in AAA, get everyday reps, and let Robles ride the bench and be kind of my fourth outfielder. Because just the development there is not going to happen. Ooh, this is unfortunate. Zach Green tore his labrum. This was a guy I was potentially looking at to be more of a reliever for me, but I don't love the 45 movement extreme fly ball, even though he has suppressed home runs pretty well in the minors. Oh wow, he spent 4 years at AAA. That's kind of crazy. Without getting a single shot. The majors. I mean, really, I think one of the big things that I should probably talk about even more is just how important having the good trainer really is. Where this legendary prevent arm injuries, I really haven't had a ton of injury issues. Really, I think it was the second year, so the 2023 season, we had some issues. But outside of that, really, it's been pretty minimal as far as serious injuries have gone. So that's been very big for us in actually making sure we're able to have the team that we want to have on the field is actually the one that is on the field. So to kind of go through everything real quick, Marquez, Nola, Gomez, Alcantara, Alvarez will be the starting rotation to start the year. Alcantara, again, is on a shorter leash. It's really these top three are the ones that I feel good about. And then Alcantara's hit and miss. Alvarez is a highly ranked prospect at this point, so we'll kind of see what he ends up being. Colby White takes over for Presley in the closer role. Duran will continue to stay in his, basically the Duran role. The stamina is down. It's finally starting to actually come down like I think it probably should have before even this. But yeah, we'll see how much that actually limits his innings moving forward. But as for right now, I kind of expect him to be in that similar role. Diaz kind of hops up a tier to take the place of White as my setup guy. Moran, Sprinkle, and Cano are my middle relievers, and Kumar Rocker is my long reliever to start the year while Rozek is on the injured list. And obviously once Rozek comes off the injured list, Rocker will go back to AAA and start down there. Lineups are pretty similar to last year, not a ton of change. Gutierrez takes the place of Bo Naylor as my backup catcher. And Robles is in as the fourth outfielder. And that's really it. Kirilloff is going to DH as opposed to Polanco from before. And then Aranda and Kavoko are going to platoon as kind of that first corner infielder situation. Kavoko's a better defender at third than Miranda, so that's why Miranda will play first when Kavoko's in the lineup, and he'll play third when Aranda's in the lineup. So that's, again, kind of some nice flexibility to have for Miranda there, that he's a very viable defender at both spots. He's not like an amazing Gold Glove third baseman by any means, but he's respectable there. He's going to be about league average, and I will take that. So then we can go ahead and take a look at the preseason predictions. What are they thinking for us? So they do project us to win the American League North. This is kind of funny how this is split where it's not like American League North Division projected standings. Something funky's going on there. They go Twins, Cubs, Brewers, White Sox. Again, it's the pitching that they're projecting to be really, really good here for us. As far as the lineup, it looks like they're saying it's going to be better than it has been. So if this actually follows, let's see, that would be, wow, Rocky's 905, 90 above anybody else. So you've got the Blue Jays at 811, the Dodgers projected in fourth place, but to score 800 runs. That's actually hilarious that they're projected the same record as the Diamondbacks while giving up less runs and scoring more runs. So that's interesting. So, yeah, so we would be projected fourth in runs scored. So I guess that's kind of fairly similar to where it has been in the past. But really, the pitching staff is continuing to be the strength of the team. Top hitters, there's Jose Miranda. Luis Garcia we'll talk about in a little bit. Aaron Nola projected as a top pitcher for us. National League, Cardinals projected to win 99 games this year. Oh boy. And the Mets at 92. Okay, I want to go look at the Cardinals now. They're projected to win 99 games. Let's see, so Joe Ryan, Gratterall signed here, Zach Thompson, Jesus Luzardo, and high-end prospect Matthew Liberatore was good and lucky last year. Looks like he's only been good for them. That's definitely that's a result you would take as a Cardinals fan for Liberatore, I think. Chirinos, Roberts, Jose Castillo. It's like about kind of a league average-ish bullpen. Lots of 45s and 50s. So the lineup, Tommy Edmonds, a pretty good leadoff guy. Brendan Donovan. Dylan Carlson, obviously coming off the MVP. Jordan Walker. Only hit 15 homers. How many games did he miss? Okay, so that pace, I mean, that's that's about a 50 home run pace that he was on last year. In 2.1 WAR in 46 games. Yeah, I mean, that'll play. Let's see. He's still not even super close. He's not even ARB eligible yet. Yeah, that's a good. Okay, and Tyler O'Neill, Juan Arenado. Wow, yeah, this lineup is very good. Bader's just your defensive guy. So I mean, really, your top 6 hitters are all really good hitters. Herrera looks like a decent enough hitter. Yeah, that's probably about right. And then a good catcher as well. Yeah, I don't know that I would say this is a 99 win team, but a 90 to 95, I can definitely see it. The lineup is really good. So, let's see. As far as our expansion teams, Mexico City's projected to win 76 games, finish in 3rd place in the American League South. And then the Sexsmith Unicorns projected to be 500 in the National League West. So, I mean, that's definitely variance range of first place. For sure. The Giants have a projected team ERA of 3.44. Wow. That is nutty. So, I said I would talk about Luis Garcia. So, one of the interesting things that I looked at doing this offseason is making a trade for him, because I think the reason why he's on the trade block is because they probably don't want to extend him, which to me probably says he's asking for a lot of money, which, I mean, he's a good player. Like, I get it. I mean, look at the WAR. 4.1, 5.2, 4.9. I mean, that's 14.2 WAR in just those 3 years. And I think 22... Okay, 22 he didn't do anything. Yeah, he's been worth 14 WAR over the last 3 years. Lowest batting average in that time is 309. So, yeah, I mean, I was considering making a trade for him, plugging him in at 3rd, moving Miranda to 1st, and then going that way. Sort of curious to see whether or not they'll still do. Okay, so they don't like this anymore. There was a point in the off season where they were basically close doing this. I mean, I would honestly be fine even doing like something like this, where giving up Alvarez, now that I've sort of seen what he can do, would be a little bit harder for me. But like, I still wouldn't hate this. Because, like I've said, is I don't love this Kirilov contract. The bat's starting to concern me a lot more, and the defense isn't there even to the Miranda level. So I'm willing to move him. The problem is just what does Garcia want for contract? Where is it going to take a Correa deal to keep him around for 6-7 years? I mean, he's 25, about to be 26. So even like a 8-year deal, he'd only go to age 34 with that. He's been Silver Slugger at second base the last 2 years. I would not play him there. I would 100% be playing him at third, which is, I think, his best defensive position anyway. So, I mean, this would come down because the bat isn't as much what you would want from a corner infielder, but I still think he's probably a 70 or a 75 at third base because he'd be better defensively. So this is something that I will come back to at the trade deadline, I think, where the fact that it says they're rebuilding is interesting because they're projected to be the best team in the division. But if they do end up struggling, this is something that I will visit in as far as like a rental situation, because like if I take out Kirilov, like they'll do this straight up. I'm actually curious about they do this straight up. So I mean, I think this really says that they don't want to extend him, and giving up Klassen isn't something that like I would super want to do. But if for whatever reason injuries are something that pops up, this is definitely an on my radar swap to make, or a target to go after, which I think could be a potential one of the biggest trade deadline acquisitions I've made in this series. So that would be fun. There's definitely potential to go out and do that. But otherwise, there's not really kind of a ton else to really talk about. We'll see how kind of some of these guys do. I mean, obviously Baez and Rodriguez will be keeping an eye on. We'll also be keeping an eye on people like Bentley, Ortiz. Ortiz's ratings have came down a little bit, I believe. So we'll sort of see what we end up wanting to do with him. Nunez is down again. That's really unfortunate. I remember when this was a 75, and now he's just basically irrelevant. We just need to see what Huesman does in starting out in Double A. Did I have anybody else in Double A that was super interesting? No, I don't. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some interesting pieces to see kind of how they're going to actually develop over the course of the next kind of first couple months of the year. So I will be back for the draft and the first couple month wrap up. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.